Hey YouTube, welcome back with another video. This is Johnny Torres. Hope you guys are having a great week. I'm having a great week. For all you musicians out there, drummers, people who are watching, thank you. I really appreciate everybody watching. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about when I was growing up. Before we get into the song, today's song, I want to kind of just explain to you. When I was a kid, I was a poor kid, right? And I didn't have a drum set until maybe when I was, middle school, going into high school. I always had access to a drum set because my cousins, my uncles, they always had bands, and they would practice, and they would let me sit on the kit and practice, of course, and just kind of learn. But when I got my first drum set, my first crappy drum set, it was nothing special. It was garbage. It was a bass drum. It was a snare. I had the snare stand. I had a hi-hat, a crazy ugly hi-hat, and luckily the hi-hat stand was with it. So I didn't have any cymbals. I didn't even have a drum pedal. So the way I would play my bass drum with no pedal was like this. Pretty sad, but hey, it is what it is, you know. Like they say, when life gives you lemons, you just, you do what you can with it. So I remember my cousin Frankie in Texas. We had a neighbor, and we're not going to say any names, but he used to have a big drum set, a brand new Pearl. It was beautiful, and it was double bass. Had the toms, the four toms, the double floor, and he had, I don't remember what else. He had a lot of stuff. His family could afford a little more, which is great. I remember me and my cousin knew him. I didn't. My cousin was in band, so I didn't know the guy. So I said, hey, your buddy, he's got a bass drum pedal. Can we walk over there, and can we ask him if I could borrow his bass drum pedal so I could practice on the bass drum and get familiar with the bass drum? And he said, yeah. Frank said, yeah, let's go over there. So then we walked over there, and embarrassing. We're going there. We're knocking on the door, and he comes out, and then he says, I ask him, I go, hey man, would it be okay if my cousin Johnny borrows your bass drum pedal? And he goes, what? Why? He's like, well, he's got a drum set, but he doesn't have a pedal. And he goes, well, hang on, let me go ask my mom. And he closes the door. And we're like, all right. Waiting, right? And he comes back and he opens the door and he goes, yeah, my mom said I could lend you my bass drum pedal, but I have to come with you. And I said, okay, that sounds cool. I mean, we don't want to steal it. I mean, I wasn't gonna, try to take it away or steal it somehow. And he'd come over and I'd connect the bass drum pedal, and he'd be sitting there, like right there, right next to me. And I'd be practicing, trying to get some, just trying to get more familiar with it. And he'd be sitting there going like this. Oh, man. So finally, after 20 minutes of that, I said, you know what, man, thank you very much. You know what, here's your bass drum pedal. I appreciate it. So he took off, and I never asked him again. It was a pain in the butt. And if it were me and I was in that situation, I probably would have done maybe the same thing. I would have been a little more patient though. But anyways, long story short, this is what I started off with. A crappy, ugly bass drum that was all scratched up. It was black. I don't even know what it was because it didn't have a logo. But it was a small bass drum. It was probably like an 18 or a 20. And I had a snare. And I had the hi-hat, like I said. And, after I got a bass drum pedal, I went to the pawn shop once I got a job, once I was 16. I got a job, and I was able to buy a bass drum pedal. And that was like the best thing that ever happened to me because I didn't have all this extra, look at me, sparkly sparkles, you know, all over the place. So I was forced to just do this. I was forced to play, just get really, really solid with that, and then having like a metronome, you know, boom, click, 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 you know, all the time, every day, and doubles. And my best friend at the time, when I was listening to music, was AC/DC. I didn't have any toms, and I don't know if I mean, everybody's familiar with AC/DC. There's not a lot of toms going on, not in all the songs, but you know, you shook me all night long is pretty much. Most of their songs are just, or even just. So that was my best friend. All the AC/DC albums, or cassettes at the time. I don't know if some of you guys know what a cassette is, but at the time it was cassettes. So that was my best friend. AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, some of that Led Zeppelin. I had a sister that was older than me, and she would bring these albums home. Anywhere from Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, Chicago. I mean, there was Elvis, all kinds of stuff. So I would just sit there, man, and listen and practice on the pillows, you know. But yeah, anyways, long story short, this is what I got, and this is what I'm gonna use for this next video. So check it out, man. All right, so just to kind of prove that you don't need a lot to make music, I already explained about the bass drum and the snare, no cymbals. So this past weekend, I was cleaning out the attic, and I found my son's old guitar. It's an old guitar, and it was in bad shape. So I said, "Hey, friend, if you can fix this up, you know, to sound presentable, it used to sound really nice. You can keep it, man. I mean, you can have it. Bring it back to life, and you know, make it live. That's what instruments are for. Instead of throwing it away, I don't have the heart to do that." So what Fran did was you put 4 strings on?
I put a bass string and 3 guitar strings on it.
And that's all that's on there. So we're going to do a little tune, man, and hope you enjoy it. Here. Here. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.